Hello, little explorers, and welcome back to the Katha Lantern. I'm your host, Rutu. On this journey, we are opening our giant, glowing book of Arabian Nights. Once again, we are about to read one of the Sindbad's most wondrous tales. Do you feel that warm, gentle breeze swirling around us? Our wondrous flying magic carpet has finally arrived. It is lifting us off the ground. So find your comfy spot right in the middle of this soft woven threads. Because here we go. We are floating right out of the window, soaring high into the clouds, and flying all the way back to the sparkling blue ocean. Hold on, little explorers. We are coming in for a soft landing, and our magical ocean adventure is about to begin. When we last left our valiant friend Sindbad, he had just escaped a deep valley sparkling with colorful diamonds and guarded by giant hissing snakes. Using his clever mind and a thick leather belt, he was carried into the cloud by a magnificent mountain eagle. He returned safely to his loyal crew, awaiting on the cliff above. Now, our bold sailors are cruising the vast blue waters once more, heading straight towards the mysterious island of the giant and the apes. Sindbad and his crew are searching for a very special treasure, the legendary silver coconuts. These coconuts are said to hold the sweetest and most magical water in all of the world. Sindbad stood proudly at the front of his ship, feeling absolutely exhilarated as he pointed towards a sandy beach. A lush green shoreline had appeared on the horizon. Pointing towards the sandy beach, our bold sailor Sindbad said, "We are landing on the island, my fearless crew. Prepare the heavy iron anchor." The sailors stepped off their ship, listening to the soft crunch of a warm, greeny sand beneath their boots. As they ventured deeper into the vibrant jungle to find the magical coconuts, they noticed a sweet, sticky smell of wild jasmine and overripe mangoes filling the air. Sindbad reached into his bag and unrolled an ancient, crinkly treasure map. He traced the faded ink with his finger, his eyes shining with excitement. The valiant sailor Sindbad said,
"Look here, my fearless crew. To reach the legendary tree of silver coconuts, the map says we must first cross a bridge and journey deep into the thick green forest."
But before they could find the treasure, they had to cross a rush, bubbling river. The only way across was an ancient, mossy rope bridge that looked incredibly wobbly. The field felt a little hesitant, but Sindbad stepped into the creaking wood. Working as a harmonious team, they held each other's hands, balancing carefully over the rushing water until they all reached the other side safely. They were overjoyed, but as they marched into a grove of tall, leafy trees, the peaceful quiet was broken. Suddenly, a loyal sailor named Sid felt entirely startled, pointing his trembling finger towards a patch of dark green ferns. Bewildered, Sid said,
Captain, I hear some strange sounds and I see someone behind the bushes.
Out from the bushes popped a monkey, and then another monkey, and another. Soon the tall tree were filled with hundreds of furry, chattering apes. They were mischievous and swift, swinging down from the twisting vines to snatch the sailors' hats and their treasure map. The crew felt completely overwhelmed and didn't know what to do. But then the ground beneath their feet began to bounce. Stepping right over the tall palm trees was a colossal, towering giant. He had a remarkably grumpy frown, and he let out a deafening roar that rattled the coconuts right out of the branches. The sailors were absolutely petrified. If the giant saw them, he might snatch them up. Sindbad quickly waved his hands, his eyes wide with urgency.
Quickly, my friends, hide yourselves inside that hollow fallen tree trunk and make sure to not make a single sound.
The sailors dove into the dark, scratchy hollow of the giant log just in time. They held their breath as the giant's enormous shadow fell over them. Reaching down with one massive hand, the giant scooped up all the fallen fruit right next to their hiding spot, completely missing the sailors. The giant sat down heavily on the beach, blocking the only path back to their ship. He ate his mountain of fruit and promptly fell into a deep sleep. His snoring was sounding like a whistling, storming wind. It was blowing the sailor's hair straight back. The crew was trapped, but Sindbad knew that a calm brain is the only solution that can get them out of this tricky situation. He gathered his quiet team inside the log and whispered an ingenious plan.
Mates, we cannot walk past him. We must use our true team spirit. We will tie these massive fallen logs together with strong vines and build a magnificent raft to escape.
Moving as quietly as mice, the determined crew used their quick thinking to build a clever escape. They felt the rough bark of the heavy logs as they rolled them into the water. Working perfectly in harmony, they tied the thick vines tightly. But there was one problem. They didn't have any wooden paddles to row away. Just as they started to worry, Sid the sailor noticed how strong the wind from the giant's booming, echoing snore. A bright smile crossed his face as he had a brilliant idea. The excited sailor said,
Let's use the wind coming from snoring to our advantage and use to set sail.
"What a hilariously clever idea!" The sailors quickly tied their t shirts and made it a heavy cloth and tied it between two sturdy branches on their new raft. As the giant let out another booming snore, the snoring wind caught their makeshift sail perfectly. As the sun began to set, Sindbad and the valiant crew were blown right off the giant's enormous toes, floating swiftly and safely back to their ship. Oh, my little explorers! Sindbad and his fantastic crew proved that when we combine our clever minds and use true team spirit, we can build a magnificent escape and outsmart any problem. They showed us how to think out of the box and come up with solutions with the things at hand, like the wind coming out of a giant's snore. And now, little explorers, it is time to leave the wondrous ocean and head home. Climb back into the soft threads of our magical flying carpet. And let's wave goodbye to Sindbad and his fearless sailors. We are floating high into the air, soaring right through the fluffy white clouds, and landing softly and safely back in your cozy room. Before we close our book today, I want to send a gleeful shout out to our friends. Thank you to Amira and Caleb for drawing such magnificent mountain eagles soaring through the clouds for our previous journey. And for our newest Katha Canvas, you have two thrilling choices. You can draw the towering, remarkably grumpy giant sleeping on the sandy beach next to a mountain of fruit. Or you could draw the clever wooden raft with its heavy cloth sail catching the giant's snoring wind. Grown-ups, please snap a picture of these masterpieces and submit the art or any playground puzzles that you might have via DM to the Katha Lantern on Instagram or email us at thekathalantern@gmail.com. And please follow and subscribe to the Katha Lantern on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or anywhere you're listening right now. Until next time, I'm your host, Rutu. Stay curious as you grow and let your imaginations glow.